Welcome everyone to Coffee with the Kingpins. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to have Karen Chabot Martinez. I
It's Karen Chabot. Martino's gone.
Oh, it's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Martino.
Anyway, Karen Chabot here with us. She is a phenomenal Vedic astrologer, Ayurvedic counselor. Also, she is, how can I say it? She is extraordinary with the cardiology. So, Karen, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm very grateful you invited me.
Oh,
We'll have a lot of
absolutely.
fun. This is a really fun topic.
Good.
I have a kitten too that might just jump in and
Oh,
um,
very
you know,
cute kitty.
cause a little trouble because she's so cute. But
Very
I'm gonna
cute.
put her over here. But
What's
she's
her name?
as LMA.
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 Big name for a little kitty.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
such an LMA too. She's very, girly girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have spoken before, but for our viewers who have never had the pleasure of seeing you before, can you give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up, and what got you into Ayurvedic study, into astrology, and then cardiology?
Sure. So I had autoimmune disorders. That's where it all started, where I had to heal myself and figure out how to survive in this world, eating all the toxic foods that I was allergic to, and they were all genetic. So I studied Ayurvedic medicine to be able to heal myself. And it really did work. It was pretty profound. And then I went on for my master's degree in Ayurvedic medicine and writing. And in the meantime, I was studying with someone named Gandharva Sals, who he taught the ancient Ayurveda. So he called it, based on a book called Ayurveda Revolutionized,
Mhm.
which is really like a Jaimini version of Vedic astrology using the degrees of the planets and assigned fields of living to each degree. And so I was doing Vedic astrology, a limb of it, along with Ayurvedic medicine, not really knowing that I was doing what you call Vedic astrology. It just felt like Ayurveda to me, it was all inseparable. And then I found the formula that Gandharva was using, and I was pretty intrigued with this formula and where the Ayanamsa was, which is that point in Vedic astrology that we start with is it could be at the moment of birth, for example, or he moved it in this ancient system to 3 months postpart, in utero. So it was an interesting kind of off Broadway type of Jiminy. And then I decided to go full force into traditional Jyotish. And I had met David Hawthorne, who taught Jyotish. And I was in Fairfield, Iowa, and I went every Wednesday night to his classes. And it was really advanced. And I felt so lost in the beginning, but I was determined. I just knew I was supposed to be there. And then I met people who had these cardology books. I was interested, but I was, kind of put off by the word card, a four-letter word. It's been demonized. It's gambling, gypsies association. And I was really on a spiritual path with Ayurvedic medicine and astrology. And I thought this was maybe off my path. And then I realized later that it was quite aligned with Vedic astrology and spirituality. I received a reading at the Ayurvedic Institute by a woman named Bethala, as well as Hart Defoe, who is, you probably know because you're a Vedic astrologer. He wrote Light on, was it?
Lights on life.
Yeah, that's what it was. Light on, because science of light is the terminology or Sanskrit definition of Jyotish.
Right.
So he wrote some of these incredible legendary books, and now he's not even giving readings. But back then, that was 2097. It was the best reading I ever got. I saved the notes.
2097. You're
I,
in the future.
hilarious,
1997.
actually. Does that give it away that I'm really not
Woo!
from here? Woo. Okay, so that was 1997. And
Okay.
yeah, and it was mind altering, extremely accurate. I mean, he predicted in all the way up to age 45 everything he said. And I think I was in my early 30s. I was in I denied everything he said. No, 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 that can't be. That can't be. That I dismissed and tabled it. And then I looked back in retrospect, everything he said was spot on. And then I had a reading from Bethela, who was a student of Hartefo at the Ayurvedic Institute. She was the ringleader of the Ayurvedic yoga department, and she was a Western astrologer converted to Vedic. And when she met with me, she had Robert Camp's book, Cardology, and she said, this is based on astrology, even though it had bright cards smeared all over the cover, and I didn't think it had anything to do with astrology, but I was just rolling with it. And she said, you are born on a Four of Hearts day. And then she went on to give me my Vedic astrology reading. And in the back of my mind, I'm just, how do I get born on a four? What is that? And
Mhm.
then I tabled it, and I'm not forgetting it. And then I went to Costa Rica to train a spa in Ayurvedic massage. And there were, about 8 students. One of them, we just hit it off. She was just amazing. We became good friends, almost like soul sisters. And she was a follower of Ram Dass and very spiritual and a highly evolved woman and a powerful healer of body talk medicine. And because of her, I went to get certified in body talk, the 3rd module, but she's like on the 9th or 10th module. Anyways, with that, I realized this very spiritual being, her name was Katya, was also doing these cards. So I
Mm.
thought, okay, I can't keep dismissing it. I immersed into it. I totally surrendered. Because when something keeps getting presented to you over a period of a decade, in and out with different people, you know that there's a message there for you. So I started listening, and we just couldn't get enough of the card of this book. We did card after card, people and client after client and friends, and we were obsessed, and it was so much fun to have a buddy to study with like this. So then I continued on and invited her back to where I live in Newport, Rhode Island, and she was such a powerful healer that I set her up with my clients, because I was a massage therapist and body talk, Reiki, energy healing. I did all kinds of things, but my clients loved me, trusted me. I said, you've got to get a session with Katya. So for about 3 months, I booked up Katya with all my clients, and they had incredible healings. But the last 10 minutes of every healing, Katya took out the book and she gave them a mini reading on the cards. And all these clients, after Katya left, and sort of just before she left too, they would say, oh, the healing was profound, but the card reading at the end was even more profound. And I was, oh my God, this is something. And then they said, could you do that? Could you study this? So I started to get as good as Katya, or at least I was aiming for it, because she was quite brilliant. She had memorized every birthday of the 365-day calendar to the T, like what card was on what day. I was blown away by that. That's genius. So I became pretty good at it, and I would do 10 minutes at the end, and then it got so popular that some clients just said, skip the massage, let's just do the cards.
Right.
So that's how it evolved. Now I'm
Amazing.
just doing the cards, and that's,
Right.
Vedic astrology blends nicely.
Right. Excellent. So, you have published 5 books, and recently you added another one, which is 52 cards and the star codes,
You
birth.
got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
That book is a consolidation of the 5 book series. So
right. Right.
Amazon won't let me take those 5 books off. I would like them off of Amazon, because it's redundant to have, broken up 5 books when
Well,
there's
I
just one
mean,
book with it
it
all.
is, I mean, it is interesting because each of those 5 books basically deals with different suits, correct? And it goes
Yes.
through ace to king. So
Yeah.
it is informative. And then this one is sort of, how would you describe it? What have you added?
Well, it's for intermediate readers, really. Or if you are a brave soul, you can still get a lot of information from the book if you're a newbie.
Mhm.
I was a brave soul to be in David Hawthorne's class with all those advanced astrologer. I had no idea what I was doing, but I
Right.
stayed because I felt called. So if you feel called, don't let the intermediate reader title scare you off. You might be able to get something out of this and then feel so compelled to keep going and learn more. And right now I'm in the middle of writing an 18-day introductory freebie course. I'm going to send a drip campaign for people who want to learn this, who are beginners, and just, for 18 days, each day they get a little snippet of, how to begin learning cardology, the language of the stars.
Interesting. And I have to say that it seems that you've kind of added, um, how would I say, different formulas as
Yes,
well that are not written in the books.
that's very true. So
Yeah.
I have become very, I guess the word is sensitive. The veil has thinned for me, and I've been channeling. So I've met my star family, and I know a lot of people think this might be hookah bookah, but it's real. And I hear what I hear, and they give me downloads. And sometimes, unfortunately, these downloads come in when I'm in the dark night of the soul. I wish they would come in when I was, dancing and singing and having fun, but they come in when I'm completely, upside down. And so I have to honor that when I am not doing so well, which, we all have moments. And, during eclipses, during challenging times, we have moments. And that's when they like to talk to me. So it is when veil is thin, the eclipse times and other times. So I did download something called the personal rebirth zones. And these are, they're, so how do I explain this? So we're born, and the day we're born, we're given 45 weeks of nearly identical cards. And cards, these weekly cards, represent the 7 planets in the sky. And they never change except for one or two. So we get these. That's why life echoes, and that's why things repeat. And that's why even eclipses repeat every 18 years. And the Saros family of eclipses, you can follow the eclipse cycle. They're nothing to do with the calendar year.
Right.
And yeah, so this is a very similar thing. So we're born with these 45 weeks. On week 44 of our birth, we're not even 1 year old yet, right? We we get the spiritual rebirth opportunity, where the cards that we're given on our 44th week look like a straight flush. They're in perfect coherent order. And all of this cardology stuff is based on our birthday. So just for the readers, for the audience, this isn't tarot. We're not throwing cards and measuring the moment of consciousness. And this is all math blended with intuition.
Right.
So the cardology software, you enter a birthday, and then the cards populate according to the birthday using math. And the science behind every birthday has measurable codes.
Right.
So when we get to the 44th week, we get not a random spread like you see in all the other weeks, but instead a coherent spread, the spirit spread. Your spirit spread is actually appearing. And this is a chance to let go and rebirth what it is that doesn't serve you, even a thought, a place. Like right now, one of my friends is rebirthing, leaving her home into a new home. And it can be anything that is a letting go, a surrender. It's an opportunity to change. We all need that in our lives. So we get that with cardology every 44 weeks. The 45th week is actually our life path week. And that's when we integrate what we let go of. That first week, the 44th week, is the toughest one, because you really have to surrender to something that you might have been clinging to. The 45th week is when you integrate that into the physical body. Now, I've seen clients that I said, you need to rest during this time. You need to really integrate and be aware of what it is that you're letting go of, and then allow the integration. It's like the Shavasana after a yoga class. If you
Right.
just get out of class without resting, there's no integration. So you could get sick. Your body will want to slow you down. And that's why we get sick, because we're supposed to rest. And when we don't rest, our body will force it in a way with a cold or a flu or whatever it is. So a lot of them have just ignored when I said you have a personal rebirth zone during this time, XYZ, because it happens every year. this is the time for you to, it's like, you give tips and remedial measures for how to endure an eclipse. These are very similar,
Right.
how to endure a rebirth zone. So this is every 44 weeks of our lives. It rolls out that way. So the only way to measure it, so if you're age 62, then how are you going to measure every 45 weeks? I have a formula. I prompt AI, like ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, Grok. You can just send it in and they'll calculate it. And then I always measure it because sometimes they're wrong, catch them when they're wrong. And I go right to the week that they say my client's rebirth is. And if there's not a coherent straight flush, then I ask them to repeat it until I see it, because I'm not going to flip through 45 weeks looking for that.
Right.
So at
Right. Right.
least they get close to it, and I can find it, a little before, a little after. And this is a big, huge download. We don't just have personal rebirth weeks. We have actually, this is important for you too, um, global rebirth zone. Your birthday was it the 18th of December, right?
I'm because I was born midnight, so I'm the King of Hearts, also Queen of Hearts. So King of Hearts, three of diamonds, Queen of Hearts, two of diamonds.
That's right. So there is a day in December 18th,
Hmm.
when Ophiuchus ends, the 13th constellation they found. It ends, begins on November 29th, and anyone born between November 29th and December 17th, really, Ophiuchus rules you, along with Jupiter, both actually. So then on December 18th, your birthday, you are the bookend of a long rebirth zone that goes over the holidays into when the sun transits, as you know, in Vedic astrology, around the 15th every month.
Right.
It ends there, and it ends on the Ace of Clubs. Actually, it's a king. So, the next day would be the Ace, and it's a new beginning. So from
Right.
king to king, two kings bookend this zone. And then we have the portal within a portal, because these zones are portals. They're challenging times. We know the holidays are hard, and people think, oh, it's because of the hustle and the bustle, and we have to buy gifts and family get together, and the people are fighting in the family, and everybody has their reasons for why it's so stressful. And then they exhale after the holidays. Well, it's not so much about all the hustle and bustle and the lights and the merriment. It's really a portal that we are walking through. It's a very sacred time when the whole earth gets to go through a global rebirth. And the January 1st date is the King of Spades. It's the only day of the year that is King of Spades. But December 31st is the Joker. And it's this 0 point, this
Hmm.
everything and nothing all at once. And in my 52 star codes, I break the day down, so it's just not 100% zero. Beginning of the day, we have the Ace of Hearts, and the end of the day, we have the King of Spades, which sort of overlaps into January 1st. That night, on New Year's Eve, that is an incredible threshold, junction point. It's mystical junction point for rebirth and revelation. And a lot of the ancient sages knew this. For example, I studied in Fairfield, Iowa under Maharishi. He used to go into no talking. He would just go into his own reclusive meditative state, abstaining from people and food, even fasting during this cycle, especially during New Year's Eve, because he knew better. He was in alignment with the harmonies and of the flow of nature. And the rest of us are, running to New York City watching the ball drop. And that's not what we should be doing. So
Right.
it's a time where we're very sensitive. So I talk about that time within that book-ended global zone. And then the January 6th through 9th is literally another portal within a portal. So we have December 31st, New Year's Eve, is a portal within that portal. And then January 6th through 9th is critical time for the whole world. And it tells us a lot about what will unfold for that year. It's a very special time. So that's what I downloaded. And I downloaded that because I had a personal rebirth zone that overlapped with the global rebirth zone. And that's what knocked me
Interesting.
over.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh, my Firoze. I could hardly sleep. I was a bit of a train wreck, but of course that's when they talked to me. And I really wanted to process my own things. I had so many epiphanies came in great awakenings that, oh, I mean, mysteries that were solved. When I was 16, I lost my cat and I figured out what happened to my cat. And I realized it was exactly the right time. It was exactly 45 years when I got the epiphany of my cat during that rebirth cycle. So it wasn't an accident for me to relive the experience and then get an aha. What happened to that cat? It destroyed me to lose that cat.
Is that why you got the cat?
Yes, yes. I was determined after I had that release and the understanding of what happened to my cat. Because I hadn't really healed from it. I hadn't really fully cried because I lost him. And I searched for 3 months for him, more actually, in the woods every day. And I just hadn't really healed from it. But after I figured out what happened, and I won't share it, I'll share it with you personally if you want, because it involves somebody in my family and I don't want to incriminate anybody.
That's
But when I
fine.
found out what happened, I was blown away. And I didn't have time to really process because they were sending me downloads about the global rebirth zone. And I was just, can I please have a moment to process my own global, my own personal, and then the global? And I was like, oh, but I got it all down. It was like yellow sticky notes, Word files. It was all just when I thought I was done, more would come.
You had downloaded a couple of different things, though. I remember
Well, yes,
a
yes.
couple of months ago, you sent me for my birthday. What was it? There was a north and there was a south. Like what personalities were beneficial for you for a relationship or something?
I think it was a Stargate
Was it? Oh,
situation where I consider Stargates, they're binary, and I've discovered 18 of them on the Earth template, 9 in total because they're binary. And you belong to the Red King Stargate,
right.
which is perfect name for your podcast, Kingpin, because you're part of the Red King Stargate. You belong to it, and you bookend the whole global rebirth zone, which is a powerful birthday to be born on. And
Right.
then your son is your Stargate partner. So
Right.
when we have two people that ignite a stargate of any kind, and that happens when we meet a person that is the opposite or is that actual other part of your stargate, it becomes ignited. Or we can be on a piece of property because there's a spirit in the earth and we can measure the properties, addresses, towns, cities, incorporated dates of countries, things like that, just the way we do with Vedic astrology. We find the date of, an incorporated date for Germany, for example, or United States. Same thing. We measure all that. And if it comes to your Stargate partner, and then you go to that land, then your Stargate ignites. Same
Interesting.
thing is if you have a personal transit of your Stargate partner, then you and that transit ignite the Stargate. The Stargate, depending on states of consciousness of both people or the
Right.
spirit of the land or whatever the other part is, it's measurable. If it's a high state of consciousness matching your state where everybody's accountable, everyone's not in victimhood, really aware of who they are, remembering that they are part of the divine, a spark of the divine, then the stargate opens north. And this
Right.
is when heavenly blessings come into your life.
Right.
But if you're with a stargate partner, and a lot of them are immediate families. I have a sister that's my stargate partner. I have a college friend she's highly evolved. She and I, we've never gone south. My sister, not so much. She's has sort of violent way of thinking, and I don't want to say anything negative
Right.
about her,
Right.
but
Right.
we're just not, on the same page with
Right.
things in life. So when we merge, our Stargate, that red four Stargate, goes south. Is that what you mean when you
Yeah, I
ask me
bet,
north?
but there was something about, I think, relationships as well. But anyway, yeah, I will remind you, send you a picture of it, and then maybe you can, I don't know, share the formula. It was interesting because you were kind enough to invite me to your soulmate class, and as I was going through it, I was looking at the earth anyway, we'll discuss it. But I actually found a couple of different things that we had never spoken about. So it was interesting.
Ah, I'd love to hear your big ahas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
I
Earth
mean,
template has
you
the
know,
answer.
it seems like cardiology is just the same as, Jyotisha. It's like you never finish learning. There's always more to learn and more things to find out. Very interesting, very interesting.
It is
Yeah,
like Jyotish. Yeah, there's even, there's yogas in
yeah,
Jyotish. There's so much complexity that it's the same thing with cardiology. It's just never ending what you can learn, and there's still things being discovered. I just had a download the other day, and honestly, I don't even know how to process that one. I have to give it some time. I'm not even going to say it because it's too much in my head.
right.
But
Well,
it
the
is.
other thing that I've noticed that you are recently doing, or maybe you were doing it before, but I wasn't aware of it, is that you are using AI. So, in other words, you take your Vedic chart, put it in the AI to see like what planets are beneficial for you in your chart and which ones are not. So I don't remember you doing that before.
Well, AI is something I'm warming up to. I
Right,
think a lot of us are. I was, resistant at first, and now I like it. I catch errors though. You can't just do what I'm doing without the knowledge
right,
to see mistakes because I
right.
have and they actually caught me in a few mistakes, which I was impressed. I think,
Okay.
wow, I didn't know I made that mistake. And that made me feel like, well, there's some credibility here. So yes, I was able to tell it exactly what I wanted, what would define a favorable planet, what would define an unfavorable planet in someone's chart.
Mhm.
And based on what I told them, XYZ, is the full moon, debilitations, exaltations, specific yogas, parivartana yoga. I gave specific, and they knew all these terms. I was really
Right.
impressed because that
Uh-huh.
saved me a lot of time. That way I could assign whether somebody's cardology planet was going to be strong or weak.
Mhm.
Was it a flat tire on the bus of life or a full tire? I found my Uranus card is aligned with the debilitation of Uranus in my chart. Vedic astrology chart is it doesn't like to be in Leo, so Uranus is in Leo in my chart. So that means that when I have a Uranus day, which is every Wednesday, we all have the days of the week assigned to us in cardology depending on the day you were born. I was born on a Friday. So if you were born on a Friday, then your Uranus day will be Wednesday. So those are my hardest days, really, because Uranus is not a full tire on my bus of life. It's a bit
Mm.
bumpy. It's a bumpy ride there. But I, have stronger. Saturn is strong, and so I can tell which days to lay low and not overbook myself. Which days I should do self care. It helps to know the quality and condition of the planet because it does overlap into cardology.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. And if you, I mean, you probably also consider that because each day is ruled by a planet. Like I'm a Wednesday, so I'm ruled by Mercury. I'm also a Virgo ascendant. So, it comes like Monday is a moon day, Friday. I usually wear the color of the day. So today is
That's
white,
right.
Friday,
Yes.
Venus, you know. So, yeah, as I said, there's so much to learn and so much to bring and kind of meld into one another. It's very,
Yes.
very interesting. Yeah. Anything
Yes.
you'd like to share more about your book? And of course, you will share your Amazon link, and I will share it in the summary of the
Yes.
explanation for
Uh-huh.
YouTube. Yeah, and your contact information as well. But any last golden nuggets?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, my school is starting on June 25th,
Yeah.
and it is going until the day before your birthday, the 17th, because I want to stay out of the global rebirth zone.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a great day for an end, and it is every other week approximately, and mostly every Thursday night for 2 hours on Zoom, or every other. Sometimes
Right.
in the summer, I gave people a little more breathing room because people want to have a summer vacation.
Right.
So I didn't schedule it too tightly in the summer. However, I didn't follow traditional, and of course I wouldn't, um, every single Thursday,
Right.
every other. It was done with something which called muhurta. So I tracked every Thursday, seeing if I could get that lucky that every Thursday would be, or every other Thursday would be conducive to learning, and found that there were days that like an eclipse was there. Many other afflictions can happen. So I just skirted around the afflictions because mostly people won't show up when the cosmology is not so good and energy is low. So I chose days where people would be more inclined to show up and really have a chance to learn.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was great to have you. Thank you for all the information that you shared. And to our viewers, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And please do subscribe, share with your friends. Comment goes a long way. And if you're interested in these subjects or other subjects, please share so I can find the person and interview them. Thanks again for being with us. Have a lovely evening. Thank you, Karen. Lovely to have you. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.